Hello everyone, a very warm welcome. My name is Samruddha Dikshit. I'm a lecturer at the Jindal School of Art and Architecture. And today we are going to speak, or I'm going to share about problem brief, or also called as a problem statement. Yeah. So let me start off with first understanding or first asking the question of what do we understand as problem. And the general consensus is that it is a situation or a matter or a thing which is difficult to deal with, and often we would want to overcome it, right? Now, uh, so why are we talking about problems? As in, I'm sure some of the students might be thinking that is this a maths class, or what is the why are we starting the session with the understanding of problems, and how do designers relate to this? How are designers related to this understanding of problems, right? Uh, these are fair questions, and let's delve more into it, right? So firstly, designers are not exactly, you might argue that designers are in the domain of solutions, right? We give out ideas, we have, we solve things, make things easier, right? We make the things which seem difficult, simpler, and we enable them, right? But to have a precise solution, just like your maths problem, we need to understand the question first, right? To get the solution not just right, but also effective and to the people who we intended to reach to, right? So to find the solution, we need to understand the problem very well. Yeah. Now, how do we start about? How do we go about it? Because we are surrounded with problems, not just the way we sit, eat, pertaining to the domain of interiors and furniture, uh, how we arrange things, how we keep things, how we manage our houses or commercial spaces. Problems can be seen anywhere and everywhere, right? Now, from so a couple of examples would be reaching high shelves or something like an uncomfortable sofa, or it could be something not as tangible as we think of. For example, a gloomy room which sort of affects our mood, doesn't get us excited for the day, or we just want some change or some color to get us going. And these are all problems, right? But often there are so many types of problems. Just like, for example, I explained, I just said that there is a tangible and intangible problems, and there's so many problems, and how do we go identifying them? And furthermore, when do we decide that these problems are crucial and which ones to solve, right? So thankfully, the designers have borrowed a lot of tools from ethnographers. And the first thing which any designer would do is to understand who they are designing for. So their users or their clients, whatever label you might want to put on them, right? So you might want to be a part of them as well. Like if you're designing a house, you yourself are living in house, so you yourself are the consumer of the design. So knowing the user is the starting point. So this is where we would start framing our problem in a better way. So we would like to know how they live, and a tool often used in ethnography is called fly on the wall, which I'm assuming, or I feel we will discuss in the later phases of the lecture series. So we would observe our users for a decent amount of time, where we see how they do things, or as a third person. For example, right now, all of us are sitting in front of our computers in a certain way. And how many of us are conscious of our posture, right? Posture, like are we slouching? Are our knees cramped, right? Is our chair squeaky? Is it bothering us? So a third person often gets this view of what is happening with someone who's using a certain product, furniture, or an interior. And that is what is defined as fly on wall. So the designer sits as if a fly on a wall and observe all these details, right? And all these details are the existing state of the user. So these observation, as I had written it here, these are engaged observation. You're not just observing without thinking about it. You're questioning each and every act or activity which is happening in front of you, right? So why something is held like this, or why is it kept like this? How is one bending, or how is it one lifting something, or how long does one have to walk from one room to other? Are there any discomforts, right? So there is a constant engagement with the observations which you are doing, and these all are the existing state. And if one engages in such activity, often we would stumble on a desired state, like what is a better way of doing, or what you would like to do, right? Or you may think that, okay, if in a commercial space, if offices or if cabins are kept in a certain way, they might increase the efficiency, uh, things like that. So that is what the design process will lead to. But all these observations, these understanding of problems, issues are compacted together in something we call as, sorry, I forgot to mention this. So we are essentially understanding what are the problems and also defining what should be our goals. And all these problems, goals, issues, potential places to work are culminated in what we are talking today about, or we are discussing today about, which is problem brief or a problem statement, right? Whatever you identify, everything is densely packed into these, in a small paragraph or a couple of sentences, which uh, guides the design process throughout, right? Which guides the designer from ideation to the last end result, right? Now, when I'm sure when we, with the understanding of what is problem and statement, you might have some ideas of what it would encapsulate. And so essentially there are two things. Firstly, it has a description or a consequence of your observations, right? So the issues which are faced by the user. And secondly, it needs to cover the four W's, infamously who, what, where, and why, right? And now these are specific questions. Now, who is facing the problem? What is the problem? Where is the problem experienced? And why should the problem be solved? Now, if a design brief is able to answer these, it will lead to good results, and it will guide designers to successful outcome. Right now, let's understand this further. Now, I have this example which is from which was from a live project where I got this mail, and this was a design brief shared to me, and I would just give you a minute for you to read it. If you want, I can read it as well, and try to write. What do you understand from it? I can pause for a couple of seconds. So as you read, try to unpack for yourself what you are understanding. What do you want? Do you think you are? Do you think you know what will be your next step after reading this? Right. So finding a design solution which will provide easy accessible storage for people so that maximum space is utilized, and also avoiding the difficulties. Extremely vague, difficult to read because of the syntax. And my response to it was pretty straightforward. What is the storage for? And I'm sure all of you might have raised this question in yourself as well, that who is using it, and possibly where is it located? So with this example, what an ideal design brief or a design statement must have are, I've jotted a couple of key points. So firstly, the focus should be the user, right? Because we are designing something for them. Secondly, we should keep it broad enough for someone to ideate, someone to bring new ideas, have the possibility to think out of the box, jog their creativity. Thirdly, it should guide the designer, as I mentioned earlier, and make it clear of what is expected from the designer. Like, are you expecting a product, furniture, or a solution? Is it open for does it have to be digital? Right? These are a few expectations and limitations from the client or in the design process which will face. So these expectations need to be clearly mentioned. And lastly, and most importantly, it has to be legible and easy to read. So that's it. And I'll just share the end result of what happened to the earlier brief. So after a trail of emails back and forth of questioning and understanding furthermore, this is what the design brief had come to. I'm sure there is a scope for improvement in this as well. And but with just the time which we had, this is what we've freezed on. And it says like design a solution to tackle the water storage system. So the whole context was missed out in the earlier brief in a domestic urban Indian household. Now the first sentence itself helps you imagine what sort of scenario we are talking about. It needs to factor in stress points of users' back and wrist. So possibly these are where the user is having issues, and consider users with traditional matkas for water storage and account for ease of occasional cleaning of the facility. So again, you know that the users are not just people who are using bottles or things like those. They also have other means of storing water. And with this brief, we saw that we were able to visualize much better. We were able to pinpoint and be accurate in what we are designing towards. And I believe that that's part of a recipe of making a good design. So I think the presentation somewhat self-explains why why a problem statement is important for the mentioned reason that it makes design precise. It helps connect with your users well, and yeah, make good design. So with that, I would like to thank you all for your attention, and all the very best for your design and for the hackathon. Thank you.